Good afternoon. It's Tuesday, September 24th at 4 p.m. I'd like to call a meeting of the Board of Water Commissioners to order. First order of business, we're tabling the minutes of September 10th until October 8th. So our first appointment will be Kristen Berger.
Okay, thank you. First thing on my list I'd like to talk about is the evaluation for the bids for the cleaning of Trackle Pond well and the pump replacement. Those two bids were received last Thursday, as expected. And the low bid was submitted by Mars Services with a bid of $55,854.00. That work includes both the cleaning and the pump replacement. I reached out to them just to make sure that they were comfortable with their bid. There was quite a difference between their bid. If you look at the big tab, their bid and the bid submitted by Weston Sampson CMR. And it seemed to be mostly within the pump itself, the pump item. So I talked to both of them actually, and the person at Weston and Sampson said that they did notice that the quote from the supplier was high. They thought like, oh, that number seems high, but they were pressed for time and they didn't reach back out to them to say, what's going on? Why is this pump so expensive? So they just went with that number. It just seemed rushed. And I spoke with
Then Mark clearly did reach out.
Yeah, and so I talked to Mara on, they got different, I think they went with a different supplier, but it's the same Gould's pump, same stuff. So I was thinking maybe someone transposed the number, you know, something like that, because it looks kind of like that. And
even without, they're way high.
Yeah, they usually kind of higher on the cleaning because of the number of staff that they require just because of their own policies out on site, so it's like double. I talked to Mars Services on Thursday. They re-looked at the numbers all weekend, and I talked to them again yesterday. They're confident with their number. They stand behind their bid. So.
And I move we assign the well cleaning to Mars Services Incorporated.
Second.
Move second, so voted to award the well cleaning to Mars Services Inc. For the Trackle Pond well and pump replacement.
Okay, so I have this notice of award that you can sign, and then that can go up to procurement.
For all of us, right?
So let's just get that taken care of, and then my next mission is to get them going on just, you know, obviously the bonds and insurance, but they can send me the shop drawing submittal at the same time. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about that, we included replacement of the pump column shaft and also the fabricated discharge head, just in case. We talked about it at the last meeting. There was the question on, do you really need to do that because it should be in good condition. The issue now is that the fabricated steel discharge head, because it is custom for this location, is a lead time of anywhere from 8 to 12 weeks. So that would put it into like January, and the discharge head that's there, I mean, I believe it will be fine. Mars Services, they're the ones that replaced the pump back in 2014. They're confident that it will be fine. You know, no one can say 100%. And I know Chris is eager to get this cleaning in place because the well is pumping now at like 550 gallons a minute or 560 or something like that. And it should be doing at least 700 gallons a minute. So rather than waiting, we could just get a credit to do the fabricated discharge head and do the pump, do the column, the shaft. And it's not a decision you need to make today, but that's just, we can talk about it at the next meeting, but they could just do the pump column shaft, repair the stocking box and do that and save some time. So that's just something to think about.
Concern is that if you do without it, and there's some part of that fails, then we're out of that.
No, it'd be more if the for the fabricated discharge head, it's like it's all steel, where it's basically it's above ground. It's where the discharge piping attaches to the pump and then the pump column. And Sometimes on the, like, the water being corrosive, it hasn't been treated at that point with any kind of corrosion
So you
control
have to clean it, you don't
chemicals.
clean that at the same time as
It
other
can-
stuff.
Yeah, it can be cleaned, but it can start to corrode and rust, but like Chris said, he thinks like his other locations kind of have the original discharge heads or fairly old discharge heads. So this one being only 10 years, is doubtful that it would need to be replaced. So we were thinking that the new one would just be set aside anyway.
Okay.
So that's just something to keep in mind, and we meet every couple weeks, so we can talk about it at the next meeting too.
Does it make sense to just move ahead, planning on setting it aside for future need? So it's on the shelf somewhere in case we need it, or do we wanna, sort of say, take a credit for the cost of that, and reduce the cost of the.
I think either makes sense as long as it doesn't delay getting the work done. So if we
Right.
were able to
Yeah.
get the rest of the parts
Yeah.
at a normal schedule, and then the discharge
Yeah.
head can come later.
The likelihood
that.
is at some point we'll need discharge head because it's still the same pump and everything there, so at some point we'll need it.
Yeah, it's just going into this project, I'm trying to minimize downtime.
Yeah.
Because it's doing well in the high zone, so I wanna have all the potentially needed parts on site, so we're
So,
not waiting
Yep,
8 to 12
Yeah.
weeks.
yep,
So it seems to me that what makes sense is go ahead and just do it and put it on the shelf and
Yeah,
when we need it.
It's not
we'll
gonna
be
go
able to
bad
change
sitting
it.
on the shelf.
Is it
Yeah.
is it a big project to change that up?
No, I mean, they pull apart the pump anyway, like they have to disconnect.
Yeah,
it
that's
to
now, but
get
I'm
all
saying 5 years from now, if they've got is that a major?
Yeah, they still have to come in with the crane to lift off,
Pull the motor,
pull the,
you have to
everything.
separate the motor off the discharge.
But we never had that problem.
No, and you'd take advantage of that timing and say, okay, we'll just clean the well, while we got everything pulled out, we'll camera it, clean it. Cause this
Okay.
particular well, it has gone a little bit longer than it would have normally because of I think it got caught up with the treatment plant project, that it got off schedule.
yeah.
So normally it would have been done by now.
So let's get it done
Alright, so I'll see if they'd be able to separate the water that way. And just have the discharge head come when it's ready. And then you could set it aside.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that'd be fine.
I'll ask. Okay. All right, so that's that project. The Main Street Water Main project. So there's been a little hiatus here while we've been waiting and waiting for a acceptable bacteria test for the portion that's on the north side of the river. So that finally was submitted today. The lab test was done on the 13th.
Prior to 13.
And there was a verbal, but until we got the actual paperwork from the lab, no one's gonna move forward until you have that. So it took the lab a little while to get that paperwork done, so it's been given to us, we see it. So now they can proceed with tying in those services and the two tie-in connections, the one at Main Street and
Living room.
thank you. So the other things that have come up, as you've noticed, there's a couple of dips in the road from where those
So-
tie-ins were made. Yeah, it's particularly at Center Hill Road and Riverside. Yeah, Riverside,
Yes.
near Burke Street. Quite significant, and it seemed like, especially after all the rain, things were able to settle. And so it helped expedite that settling that might have already taken a little bit longer, so it was actually kind of good to have that happen, get that.
And they're gonna be able to fix that, right?
So they, DOT reached out and said that must be fixed before they allow them to do any more work. So they need to fix that tomorrow. Their plan is to do level off those 2 spots, and there's a couple of other low spots, but those were the most significant. But as soon as they level those off, people are gonna notice like, oh, these seem low, it's just relative, you know. So, but there were a couple of spots on, I think on the north side of the river that were also a little low, so they'll need to just go along the whole route and just level things off. Do that tomorrow, and then they have one service to do on the south side of the river. And then they need to remove the two, I think there's two chlorination taps. And then that's all buttoned up for that side. So then the other side, the north side, that work is planned to start on Thursday. And that'll go through at least next week. It might go into the next, it could be like 2 weeks left of work. It's just depends on what they run into. So hopefully they can get all this knocked out with the full work week. If the weather seems like once we get past Thursday, the weather looks really good. They can get it all done.
So right now, it's known, we know what they're gonna find, they know what, it's not, maybe we hit a gas main or something.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
then,
hoping it's the same crew that comes back, because they already dug it, knows, you know, where the gas is, where the Verizon duct is, where the drains are, so it's good for them to have that knowledge.
right. Yeah, the landing road connection could come up with a surprise, but that's the way it's been the whole route, so I think went over the worst of it. And it'll be more we've been talking a little bit about, like, the temporary pavement is not ideal as it is right now, and going with that through the winter, we'll still be developing these washouts and potholes and then get into a situation with the cold patching, so we'll have to discuss with DOT what can be done, like what they'll accept. So it's a possibility that we'll end up having to have the contractor do trench repair. That's the 7-inch trench repair that I wanted to try to avoid, so we weren't wasting pavement. But just given where we are in the season, they could do, that would be one way approach, would be to have them do that nice, like a cleaned up, so they would, not necessarily sock cut the whole thing, but down a couple inches on either side of the trench, like a foot off the trench, to straighten out those patches, and then remove down 7 inches, put in the good material, level it all off for the winter, and then come back in the spring and do the 2-inch mill and pave for the whole, from the curb to the center of the road. So that's one thing. The other would be just to have them cleaning it up as best as possible and letting that go over the winter. I think it's just something we need to meet about again.
I think we need to know what the cost difference is if they mill and do the 7-inch temporary repair and then come back and do the 2 inches in the spring, versus, trying to maintain it through the winter, which is not ideal by any stretch of the imagination. No matter where the contractor is, the ability to get hot mix in the middle of the winter, should you need it, is problematic at best.
So the 7-inch might be more for cost savings if we have to.
It will be more, it'll cost us money,
Yeah.
but in the long run, from a public relations standpoint, being able to provide a smooth, a relatively smooth surface from November 15th till March 15th, it may be in our best interest to do it that way, even with the additional cost.
And with the spottiness right now, with plowing, would it rip up the road if it's in bad shape, or just be icy spots here and there?
The way it is now, yes, there's spots where snow and ice can collect. And then there's other spots where plows are gonna catch it, and that ends up breaking up the material, so then you end up with a pothole there.
So
and it's just calls that are gonna be coming into the water department, and whether it's getting CC Construction back out there to patch it, or if it's emergency, then Kristen's guys have to try to figure it out, and it's a lot of extra burden on.
And the contingency could handle the 7-inch?
Yeah, the contingencies can handle it. Yeah, there's
So it
enough
sounds
money
like
in
the
the
best way to go.
contingency.
Yeah,
I hate to waste the.
just
Yeah.
so, just so we know what the
I'll find
costs
the
are.
numbers,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know,
You can't recirculate that asphalt once it's been,
No, the
No.
DOT won't allow that,
okay,
and not on the road anyway.
okay.
All right. Any questions about that project?
It's the best of bad choices.
Overall, though, at least we're past the worst of it, and, you know, I think that the best positive thing that came out of it was being able to connect into the 12-inch that came up from the south. So
Yeah.
now that's all continuous 12.
That worked out perfect.
Right. Okay, let's see, the new well and pump station project, the RFP for the design services is advertised this week. And it shows, it's already in Combine, it shows up in Central Register tomorrow. And I'll start reaching out, I've already let a couple people know that it's coming. Make sure that there'll be interest in that, so the Keith's office will be handing that out. So I'll keep tabs on who asked for it and let them know it's the real potential. It's a great project. There really aren't too many new wells, new sources that come along, so. I'll keep pushing
We had
that.
a lot of bidders last time, so I'd be surprised if we didn't get the same thing.
Yeah, it's a great project. And we were out, Chris and I were out earlier this afternoon doing that flow test for 70 Summer Street. That didn't result in any surprises. Good flow test. It's kind of the water comes right down from the Pembroke Street tank along Pembroke Street, and then, which is a 16-inch main, and it goes into a 12-inch main when it hooks around to Summer Street. So, and it's backfed the other direction. So that was a good flow test. No issues there. Oh, the other thing on my list was the, just to keep tabs on the unaccounted for water audit. They still haven't posted that grant that they offer, so I'll just keep note of that. So that's what I have on my list.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Chris, you're up next.
Yeah, so as you guys may have seen when you were coming in the building to meet tonight, the work has been replaced and completed. They finished today. So that all worked out real well. They did a nice job. No real surprises. I don't think there were any surprises they came up with. It was a great company to work with. They went above and beyond in a few areas. You know, they realized that the gutter up around the cupola up top there didn't have any brackets in it. So at no additional charge, they installed brackets and straightened the gutter up. It was ice damage or ice coming off. So they refixed that and took care of that. And they did a few other little tidying up things that they felt needed attention at no additional cost. So great company. They were, cleanup was great. Work was done.
Who was it? Who was the company?
Scott Soroy roofing and carpentry. So local guy.
Good.
It was tough to get a contractor that wanted to take on this project because of the complexity of it, the angles and types of roofing. So, but they did a great job. In the last recent rainstorm, we were dry in here, so that was.
How about the repair on the roof at Souls Pond?
We're getting ready to facilitate that now. I had the guys cutting all the overgrowth around the buildings. We can get around that to get the staging out there. So we're hoping this week we can start getting the staging set in place there and start getting that
I
done.
could get that done before winter.
Oh, it's gonna be done before winter.
No, it's gonna.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So no, that project is well underway now, so.
Was something dragged down that road, or was there an attempt to level the road or something?
I think they were out there filling some of the potholes and stuff. They
Okay.
were out there, there was some low spots and the rainwater collects and then
Yeah.
they go through it and it just gets bigger and bigger, so they're trying to stay ahead of the curve now, so they may have back dragging it with the machine to smooth it out. They would spend some time down there,
Oh, they put some stone down too there where the river is.
yeah, yep, yeah, because that kind of compacts and
Yeah.
that's a real tough spot right there, because it's everything
That's where the
kinda-
water winds up.
it all runs there and into that brook there, so. I get a little better dense grade material, the compact, that I think is gonna be a little more cohesive and if there is any runoff from it, it's not gonna be detrimental to the environment, so doing anything that was gonna be.
Back on the roof repair, we talked earlier about the potential need for gutters on the flat roof. Are you still anticipating the need to do that?
So I talked to the roofer, he was out this morning, asked me how things went, how it went in the rain, and told me, the runoff off the flat roof is, was cascading down the walls. And he goes, he figured it would just project off of the wall. He said that he had some materials, he's gonna come back, in a week or two at no additional cost and mitigate that, so.
So we'll see after that's done.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
says, definitely need to get some gutters on there, he says, but you gotta be careful on how you put them on there. Because of the, with the flat roofs.
Yep.
With the ice dams, you can back up there and damage the
Yep.
roof, so.
Yep.
He said he'd rather be the one that does that, so it's done,
Okay.
the way that it should be done on a flat rubber roof,
Mhm.
so. He offered, I didn't ask, he just asked me how things were. Pointed out my concerns, and he'll take care of that, so. But, he's been great, he says there'll be no additional.
Let's
charge.
keep his business good.
Yeah, no, he's been great, good crew, I said, cleaned up, they kept a nice job, said they accommodated any of our needs here with, people coming and going, so. Stuff doing a roof, you get a lot of stuff coming off the roof, so. But that job's done, and I'm happy, I hope you guys are happy, and
Yeah,
looks good, and they did change when they were doing it, I had them take the roof vents that we just put on this side, I had them put them on the back side of the roof, so you don't see
You
a
don't see
approach coming down the road.
Yeah.
I think it took away from the aesthetics of the building, having them up there, so they're on the less seen side. So that's that, and then, we reposted the job opening here. We downgraded from a pump operator to water repairman, so that's been posted on the appropriate websites, and so we get their applicants,
Okay.
so.
Hopefully you'll have some positive information on our next meetings.
Yeah, I hope so. I haven't received anything, but I think it just got posted yesterday, so,
Nobody in-house interested in.
well, it's a repairman position. So it's entry level position, everybody here is above that. Oh, at the highway department?
Yeah,
Don't know yet.
Yeah, like I said, it just got posted yesterday, so I haven't heard any scuttlebutt around town, but, then again, I'm not down the highway bound as frequently as I once was, so I don't even know a lot of the guys down there. So, we'll see, I might get some interest, I know there's a lot of movement, in the highway department right now with retirements, so. See what happens, I think the guys are kinda moving their own moves in-house down there, so. But hopefully get some good prospects, see how that plays out. That's all that I have.
Next order of business is special town meeting timeline, draft article for engineering and design of the new well. We need to come up with draft language on that before at our next meeting, so.
Okay.
Hopefully we will have some positive responses from the RFP for design engineers that we can use to give us a baseline number as we
Yeah.
move forward. We can do the verbiage, but the verbiage doesn't mean much without
oh,
the
numbers.
money attached to it. But as we move forward with that, even going to special town meeting, we'll at least need to know some timeframes from once they start to when we'll start construction, to in theory, when that well will be online and pumping into the treatment facility at Turkle Pond.
Okay. So for the next meeting, what do you need? The next commission meeting?
We need timelines on in costs
Yep,
for the
okay,
engineering for the design.
okay,
And then in theory, implementation of
yeah,
a construction project and the duration of what that construction project would be.
okay,
Ideally, a rough, dollar figure on what that project will be as well.
okay.
There likely will be some questions, so we want, the more answers you can give us ahead of time, but
Okay, yep.
November 19th town meeting, Tuesday.
It's, I believe it's on the, whole timeline there.
Yeah,
Fall town meeting November 19th, yeah.
Tuesday night.
Mhm.
What night?
I'm not
Tuesday the
sure.
19th
Is it
Of what?
of November.
Right.
It's a GD meeting.
19th of November.
It'll be like a 6 p.m. start usually. Those usually start.
Yeah, I think it's usually like 6 o'clock start. Did you see the timeline for the town meeting stuff, Kristen?
No,
Tuesday starts at 7. No, need-
6
Yeah.
or 7.
I'm putting 6 just in case.
Yeah, I'll put 6, that way it won't be late.
oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, so they closed the meeting warrant October 8th, it's coming up.
And we can't afford to miss.
No, no, absolutely not.
Yeah, so our next
No,
meeting is
yeah.
October 8th.
Right.
So we'll have to get that.
Yeah, I'll get a draft to you before that you can circle around, then you can at least
Yeah.
read it before the meeting, and then we can talk about it. Yeah.
And then we have one request of abatement. From Roger Silver Jr., 22 Pembroke Street.
Looks like the 2-year-old grandson left the water hose running.
Yeah,
So I think as long as they put him to bed without dessert, I think we should and move to put it to the lowest rate. As per.
I agree.
moved and seconded so voted to approve the adjustment for water rates, water bill from Roger Silva at 22 Pembroke Street. Based on this cost at the lowest possible rate.
And I have an update from the OCPC, the Planning Council, from this morning I went to. Just wanted to, not much to really new report, except for they've gone through their alternatives for water sources stuff, and not really a lot of stuff applies to us in terms of what we're doing with our new well. They're mostly concerned with towns that might need MWRA resources like Weymouth, Abington, Stoughton possibly, desalinization areas for like Aquarius with rocks and stuff. But what did come out of it in terms of the best bang for the buck is the water loss audit stuff in the process right now as well. But really looking at the billing improvements. I think that's what we discussed over the time here in terms of the rate scales, but also just the efficiencies that can happen. That's a Stacy question there. But for a future discussion at some point in time, they're going to be doing their final portfolios for the different communities over the next 3 months. I will not be able to attend. I won't be able to get on the day off from the day, but if one of you guys wants to attend, there's 3 more meetings left. And see what's up there. It's not a lot, I think, for us, but you know, it's nice to have a face in the room. But if you guys are
Get
interested,
out at the table, you're on the table.
it really isn't much. No decisions are made. They're just going to be putting forth the ideas that for each community. And ours is lucky enough that we don't have to have the concerns that other places do. But yeah, and you know, there's a lot of long-term solutions out there in terms of desal that aren't local decisions. Those are going to be regional or if not state decisions to help with that. I don't think that would be something we could ever pursue, but it looks, yeah. They'll put a report out and we'll do our thing.
Thank you, Bob. I know that there was some concern from the town administrator that we weren't providing consultants with the correct information for what they were looking. We were giving them the information that we knew was correct and applied to the town of Kingston.
Yeah.
And that's the way it should have been, and that's what we did do. And whether or not he's hearing something different from a Old Colony Council, consultant is one thing. We need to
Yeah.
be true to what we know is fact and only give the figures that are in fact true to us and not misinterpret them just so that we're making some consultant happy so that they can build the Old Colony planning.
Many communities did not participate. They had to make a lot of assumptions for some of their numbers based upon their best guesses in terms of the needs for the future. But so I don't think there's any issues with our participation in that. They're very happy with what we were able to do. But
Maybe it's a misinterpretation of what I understood.
Mhm.
Anyways, if no other business,
I move to adjourn.
second.
motion to move, second to adjourn at 4:30 PM.